Welcome back. You're listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga. I'm Wendy Hassenberg.
And I'm Shannon Levy.
And we are on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we're talking about success. And one of my favorite people that really knows about success is Jack Canfield. His
lovely.
book, his Success Principles, How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be, is an amazing book that I'm actually still reading. For a while, that was my dog snorting, in case you're wondering what that sound was.
It wasn't me,
it's
I
like
promise.
a little baby elephant coming by. Maybe she doesn't like Jack Canfield as much. We need to work on that, Tala. Anyway, I'm still reading through that, and so I wanted to share his first principle because it goes right along with what we talked about in the last segment. His first principle for success states, take 100% responsibility for your life. You must take personal responsibility because you can't change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, especially today, but you can change yourself. That
Right.
quote is actually from Jim Rohn, who's America's foremost business philosopher. And it's just so true. You know, it's like we were talking in the last segment, things are going to happen. You're going to have things in life that happen around you, and they should, because it's not, it's not a perfect world that we're living in. And
they're challenges to who we are as human beings
Right.
on this road.
right.
And, we're meant to see how we they're there for a purpose.
Right.
We're meant to learn something from
Absolutely.
them. And, I was fortunate to be able to take a law of attraction seminar with Jack Canfield, and he's just a dynamic and fascinating person, but also just very engaging and friendly as well. So he makes it enjoyable.
Nice.
It's not dry at all to work with his
Nice.
material.
I look forward to one day meeting Jack Canfield for sure. He inspires me just through his readings
Yes.
and his podcast and his or not his podcast, his Facebook, because I like him on Facebook, so I get his quotes as well. So here's another thing in that same note that we're talking about and taking 100% responsibility for your life. So here's an example of it. I want you to think of your brain as a computer or a smartphone. So we're going to compare those two in a sec. Come back to the computer or the smartphone. So with the computer or smartphone, which is pretty much the same thing, it's just you can talk into it and so forth, you have to constantly turn it off to reboot. You have to constantly upgrade it for it to be running at its optimal efficiency.
Upgrade your
right?
operating system.
Exactly. Okay, so if we now compare that to our brains, right, we have to constantly upgrade our brains as well. If we are living in our programming from when we grew up, or even from just 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and we haven't upgraded our thinking and our beliefs and our goals and our visions on a regular basis, then we're not going to run at optimal efficiency, just like a computer.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I just love this. It's not mine. I didn't come up with this.
It's a great analogy, though, isn't it?
Right. So we need to think about, what no longer serves me in the way that I'm living my life and the way that I'm thinking and the things that I'm doing, and how can I let those go to make room to start to retrain my brain quite literally and refill my brain with thoughts and activities and people and things that are working more towards my vision and my life's goals and my life's purpose.
Because like attracts like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the law of attraction, So I want to talk a little bit now about understanding the failure and success relationship. And this is something I just kind of came up with as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. Because here's something interesting. Last semester, I was doing some personal development with my CSUN students, and we work on hard skills and soft skills. Soft skills meaning the skills of interpersonal skills and so forth, personal development, and the hard skills being of kinesiology proper. And when we were doing this experiment one day, each student had to write in their journal their 3 biggest fears in life. And what do you think the number one fear was for my students, if you were just to guess?
Failure.
Yes, absolutely. The fear of failing. And that really, as I've done research, has become one of the most common things that people are fearful of. And when you invite fear and doubt and anxiety and worry into your life, just like we've been talking about, it's not going to take you towards success in any way whatsoever. It's going to keep you in this low vibration energy. Okay, so your success is determined by how much you can really learn from your failures. That's a quote by Joel Brown, who's the founder of Addicted to Success. Here's an interesting stat. Michael Jordan missed over 9,000 shots in his career. He lost almost 300 games, and 26 times he had the winning shot that he missed for the game. He failed over and over and again, and that's why he succeeds. And that's why he is such a success.
Because he was taking the shots.
Right.
He was taking the chances.
Taking action and doing
and
it.
getting the feedback from his failures.
Right. So another thing is thinking of failing yourself to success. If you're not, like you said, if you're not failing every now and then you're not taking action. You're not taking enough risks.
Playing it safe.
Yeah, and that's not going to get you to where you really want to go all the time. So thinking about how can I put myself in a position that, I might fail, but better yet, I might succeed. And wow, wouldn't that
be fabulous?
Right. And, roadblocks are going to happen. They help us discover how important our goal really is to us, and they give us enormous opportunity for personal development. I want to just kind of relate that to yoga and looking at some of the roadblocks that can come up on our mat and off of our mat when it comes to a yoga practice. And so just kind of putting that out there, if you have a yoga practice, thinking about what that might mean and some roadblocks that might come up. The one that I talked about at the beginning of the show is just simply doing your yoga practice at this point in the year already, because as I said, attendance is great in January, and then all of a sudden people allow life, quote unquote, to get in the way of their physical health.
The busyness.
Right. Yes. Yes. Now I put my exercise programs on my calendar. And, there are times that, yes, I get this little alert saying you should be on your mountain bike right now. And there's certain times that I have to ignore it and say, I'll do the next one tomorrow. I can't get it in today. But if I have it on my calendar and if I have an alert to remind me, then it's like, oh yeah, I need to start getting ready and get out there, even if it's just for 15 minutes. So
but I think it's also important to be able to forgive yourself if you don't meet that 100% standard every single time.
Right. And
okay, I'll do it tomorrow.
That is
I'll
part
get
of
back
yoga
on
off
track.
the mat. Yes. That is taking your yoga off the mat, right? So whether you can get on your mat in a studio behind a DVD for your practice or not, yoga doesn't have to be a physical practice. It can be a breath practice for just a few minutes.
I was going to say, take a few deep breaths.
It can be,
center yourself.
It can be a mindset practice of working on your vision and your gratitude and what you're grateful for each day. But taking the time consistently and consciously to improve all of your health, not just physical, not just mental, but also spiritual and financial. These are all aspects
Certainly.
of our health.
They're all woven into the fabrics of our lives and our personalities and who we are as people.
I love that. I just visualized a quote of with the weavings of different, symbols of all of those things that we're talking about. So in the next segment, I'm going to talk a little bit more about defining your own success, but I do want you to just really think about in your day, are you planning things throughout your day that are enhancing your life every single day so that you are becoming a better person, a better version of yourself, because you are an amazing person. You are successful, and it's what you're telling yourself that's either making you more successful or less successful. But it's our birthright. We are each born with, the right to be successful and the right for abundance in every aspect of our life. So taking the time, though, to really consciously think about, what am I doing for my physical health today, even if it's just for 5 minutes to start? What am I doing for my mental health today? And investing in myself. That doesn't just mean for me going and getting my nails done and getting a massage. While that's nice, that's not investing in myself. I'm talking about investing in my mental growth and my mental health, as well as my spiritual, which are two things that people can't see. They're not, things that you can, be like, well, Shannon, your mental health looks so healthy today. And,
Ooh. Mental health's looking a little dark.
No, I can see that, of course, because I'm a yoga teacher.
You can, because you know me.
But it's true. These are, they're not tangible things. And so perhaps they are the most overlooked in many ways.
Sometimes people don't understand that the deepest wounds or the deepest aspects of ourselves are the ones that cannot be seen.
Yeah. That's very true. It's the invisible stuff. So let's talk a little bit about defining your success. I looked at one of the TED Talks, and Daniel Early talked about, he defined success as having more to do with how he didn't define it, actually, which is the opposite of failure. That's how he defines it. Success, in other words, has far less to do with the results, the accomplishments, the achievements than what most people realize. To him, success is intimately associated with effort, intention, and lack of attachment, which are ways of interpreting success as a journey and not a destination. And it puts the emphasis on the way of success, not the point of success. I've taught this for years. I learned this when I worked for Disney years ago. And our motto at the Disney Institute was, the journey matters more than the destination. And so I've taught that in my dance classes and in my kines classes
and it's a
yoga.
very strong principle.
Truly.
The lack of attachment, all of these that you just
Truly.
mentioned are
Right.
very strong aspects of yoga.
Exactly. So we're going to come back to that in our next and last segment here. I do want to mention that, speaking of success, if you'd like to be successful for Valentine's Day, here's a unique idea for Valentine's Day. We're hosting an amazing heart chakra workshop, and I'm going to read a little bit about it. We're going to guide you through a heart-centered yoga practice designed to open your heart and deepen your self-love practice so that you can radiate warmth and compassion everywhere you go that day. What a wonderful gift to give and to go with somebody to bring them to this.
And what a gifted teacher we have.
Right.
leading
Taryn
that
Burson's going to be
workshop.
teaching that. So join us this Saturday. You can reserve ahead of time at vayuyoga.com for more information. That's VAYUyoga.com. You're listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga. I'm Wendy Hassenflug, and this is your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we've been talking about success, and we've shared some wonderful things about success versus failure, that relationship, as well as success in yoga. And I'd like to talk a little bit now about success as a long-term process and not instant gratification. So this is something that actually came to me in my training this morning, my personal development training with my coach, Jeffrey Combs. And this is how he describes it. And I was just like, that is just right on. How did this quote come today in my personal development when this was what I was going to talk about today as success? So pretty cool. When you put it out there, things just come out. So he states that as you develop your mindset, skills, and habits, you're going to become more grounded in the process of change, and success will become ingrained in your DNA. I just like the way that sounds. Success will become ingrained in your DNA. You'll learn where to devote your energy and spend less time on problems and more time on results and solutions. Now, I just find that so incredibly powerful because, like we were talking about earlier in the program, we can so easily focus on problems. So, example, this morning, I get up each morning and I do my gratitude journal. I work on my vision statement, and I do either a meditation, a breathing, or a yoga, and then I do my personal development. So it depends on how much time I have. But this morning I got that done. I was about to hop in the shower, and I get a phone call from one of my managers from the studio who didn't set her alarm last night and overslept this morning. So she didn't get there to open the studio for the first class this morning. So of course, here I am, in my pajamas still, and I had to zip over to open up. And the whole time I'm thinking, this kind of set me off track from what I was doing this morning and my, what I do on Tuesday mornings and prepping for the show and prepping for my life and so forth. And instead of focusing on that as a problem and devoting my energy towards, this being a problem in my life, I really put more time into my thoughts about, okay, I'm taking care of it and, everything's going to be fine and I'm going to get going with the rest of my day. It was really just a little speed bump like we were talking about. And that really shifted my energy, where in the past, it could have been something where could have been like, you know what? It was one thing after another, and I let this snowball effect happen. I know you've had these days because I've had them as well, in that one thing after another just kind of keeps going in the wrong direction for you. And you're like, I just need to go to bed and wake up again and get up on the right side or whatever it might be. So really it kind of, ingrained in your DNA. I just love that statement. Success can become ingrained in your DNA. And I feel like, especially this week, I've got, two companies that I work for as well as the company that I own. And I've got two network marketing companies that I'm consultant for. And this week has been amazing for me as far as success because I put myself in that state of mind and that state of being. And I set goals for myself. And I have this vision out there of this weekend obtaining the goals that I have put in front of myself to do. So it really is. It's all about mindset. So just kind of to recap what we've talked about today in success, you're going to have roadblocks, and they're not bad things. They teach you, number one, how important your goal is and your vision is and what you're working towards. And you really learn how to work around things or through things when they happen. You find a solution and you move on. You don't let it bring you down. So roadblocks, one thing that we talked about today. Another one, success in yoga. When it comes to, you're not really successful in yoga if you're goal-oriented in yoga. It's not necessarily about competition or accomplishing goals when it comes to a yoga practice. It's more about really being in tune with yourself and dropping in and really becoming more aware. So success when it comes to yoga is truly about finding yourself and dropping in to create a positive attitude, because that positive attitude uplifts your energy and it brings you to a higher frequency. When you look at vibrational emotional energy, there's actually a pyramid out there. If you Google and look, not a pyramid, but a triangle. If you Google that, you can see that acceptance and abundance and joy and love are all at the very top of that, right? That's going to be where success attracts success. And when we allow things that are negative and not what we want in our life to take over in our life, then that's going to attract that as well, and that's how we see failure. That's what's going to happen there. So the other thing that we spoke about today was failure versus success, and I call that kind of the failure versus success relationship. And one of the most common things that people fear in life is failure. And there's really nothing to be scared of when it comes to failure, because failure is just that. It's just a circumstance, and you can learn from it. Your success is actually determined by how you learn from those failures. In life, success comes when you simply refuse to give up with goals so strong that obstacles and failure and loss only act as motivation for you. I can think back to so many successful students of mine through the years of teaching high school and college and at my yoga studio that have been through so many different failures and losses and obstacles, but use them as motivation. It keeps you pushing even further. Even in my own mountain bike riding, I find that when I am just spent and I can't push myself anymore on one of the trails, and I'm right in the middle of a big climb and I stop, and then it's hard enough for me to get back on my bike at that point, at times I will just get off and walk my bike up that little section so that I can get over that section and see what's in front of me. What do I have to conquer next? And where does it get a little bit easier? Because it really was just a climb for a little bit, and it does get a little bit easier. And what's interesting about that is that the next time I do that, I'm able to ride it. So it's a lot about vision and seeing what's in front of you sometimes, whether it's tangible or intangible. So that's just really helped me a lot in my mountain biking and in everything in general. Because what I think when I'm mountain biking is about life in general, especially when it comes to owning my own company and working for different companies myself. My success is highly related to, what I'm thinking is a goal that I'm going to obtain and whether I think I can obtain it or not. If I think I can't, then I'm probably right. If I think I can, then I'm probably right as well. So there's two more principles, success principles from Jack Canfield that I wanted to touch on because I've got a little bit more time here. Success principle number 2 by Jack Canfield is be clear why you're here. Now, I tell my students this, not necessarily in those terms, but each time they set foot on their yoga mat, the very beginning of the practice, I ask them to think about what brought them to their yoga mat this morning. And, for my students at the college, their first thought is, well, so that I can get I can get counted here and get participation points and earn the points for my degree. But going above and beyond that, they chose to be there that morning. They still chose to get up and get on their yoga mat and do their practice. So in success principle number 2, being clear why you're here, learn to get in touch with the silence within yourself and know that everything in life has a purpose, and everything in life is happening for a reason, not, to you, but for you, which is, just a wonderful idea. The last principle that I wanted to touch on, and there are many of them in his book that I'm reading right now and in Jack Canfield's book, but the last principle is principle number 3. And this one I think kind of sums everything up. You've got to decide what you want. Decide what you want for your day. Decide what you want for the year. Decide what you want in life in general, and make sure that they're all working in the same direction. So the indispensable first step to getting the things you want in life is this: you just decide what you want. That's a quote from Ben Stein, who's an actor and an author. You just decide what you want. And so many times when you ask people, what do you want? Well, and they come up with and they're stalling. They don't quite know what they want. Like I just did. My dog was just chewing on something in the studio here. I'm not quite sure what she just ate. Probably not something she should be. But anyway, so what I was talking about was deciding what you want. So want to be successful in your day and make a plan. You can want to win the lottery all you want, but if you don't take action and plan accordingly and put it in your head with the correct mindset, then your chances of actually accomplishing that are probably pretty slim to nothing. So to kind of sum everything up for today, I do want to remind you that this is our 1-year anniversary. I'm still very excited about that, of our show for Vibrant Living. But I want to remind you about a wonderful workshop that we're holding at my studio, Vayu Yoga, this weekend on Saturday on Valentine's Day. This is just a wonderful, unique idea to give to somebody or to take them with you, and both of you do it together. It's early in the day. It's from 11 to 1 this Saturday at my studio at 8th and Main in Old Town Newhall. And it's a heart chakra workshop. So if you don't know anything about the chakras, then Google it. But your heart chakra is your place of compassion and love, and it starts with self-compassion and self-love. And one of my wonderful teachers, Taryn Burson, is going to guide you through a wonderful yoga practice. She's going to bring essential oils in. You're going to actually use the essential oils and take some home with you. And it'll be a wonderful way to start your Valentine's and your weekend and to be able to share that uniquely with somebody else. So join us this weekend. You can register online at vayuyoga.com, VAYU yoga.com. Thank you so much for listening today. Our next show will be the second Tuesday in March. And that's pretty much it for today. If you missed any part of our show, listen to our podcast either at hometownstation.com or vayuyoga.com. You've been listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga, where we share tools for learning how to truly live your life fully and completely. I'm Wendy Hassenflug on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.